What's going on, wrestling fans? It's IC Fall. Today's a special day. The book dropped. Jimmy Wang Yang, your book is here. How you doing today?
Howdy, Steve. It's
Oh,
your
God.
boy, Jim Yang. I'm back again with my boy, Steve. Yeah. But yeah, today I'm not Jimmy Wang Yang. I'm James Yun, Yun's Time, author, Jimmy Wang Yang, James Yun. Kind of weird coming off the tongue, but yeah, so the book dropped today. Amazon, paperbacks on jazzyang.com, the audiobooks on Spotify, Apple, Barnes and Noble. Um, yeah, so everybody,
Now,
yeah.
is the first page of your book announcing that you actually don't have an accent? Because my mind is melting and I'm a little disappointed. I think we're gonna wrap this up right now.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry to break character, but yeah, it actually does start. I was born in Hollywood, California, so so not deep down in the South,
I don't understand who you are right now. I'm supposed to be talking to the Asian cowboy, but it's fine. It's fine. With this book though coming out, are we gonna hear all of these ridiculous stories of how you were pitched the Asian cowboy gimmick?
This actually goes before Jimmy Wang Yang, so
Oh,
this tells about my ridiculous childhood, and how I got into professional wrestling, how I got into WCW, my time in WCW, my time in Japan, and then coming back as a Kyo. I know a lot of people know who Jimmy Wang Yang is, but they don't know the Japanese gangster Akio, so this story starts from my childhood, and it is ridiculous. I always ask people, like, everybody says, "Oh, my family's dysfunctional." I'm like, "Yeah, but they're not as dysfunctional as mine."
oh no.
Everybody's like, "Yeah, they are." I was like, you know, did your dad leave you for his new wife and you like at 9 and you haven't talked to him barely since, is your mom in like a religious cult?
Hmm.
And they're like, oh yeah, my mom's a dedicated, diehard Jehovah Witness. That's that's everything to her. Um, I have three sisters and one brother. And going back to my mom has been married and divorced like 6 or 7 times. I lost count, and basically grew up on food stamps and ramen, So I'm like, is that normal? That's
Hmm.
not my. I got you beat, my family's more dysfunctional than yours. Like, you know, I,
It's an award. That's an award you want to hold, it seems. And I think you have achieved it. I think you story topped all of us right now with any sad stories we have planned to talk about today about me personally. But yes, I believe you take the cake
yeah,
on that one. So, but we are going to understand though the backstory of how you got into professional wrestling, how you became who you are as a person, as a father, because I think everyone knows, like you said, there's depends how old you are about how they know you. We got the 3 count Young Dragons rivalries, WCW. We have again Keo Tajiri's Gangster. We have, of course, the Asian Cowboy. Of course, your time with Tori Wilson as well. And I hope there's an entire chapter, 3 chapters actually dedicated to just Tori Wilson inside your own book. Is that possible? Is that going to happen? Is that happening
yeah.
today?
And so this one ends on a keel. So there's a lot of stories in between the Tory stories,
Oh,
but she was in WCW with me, so
he was
it's like but this the thing is, like, even I know that you're wrestling, but like this goes from the
up to
independence
Keo.
in Georgia to WCW to All Japan Professional Wrestling to actually I forgot to write about TNA, so but like the
The flying
TNA,
Elvises are not in the book.
no, for some reason I forgot that one, but yeah,
What is happening?
yeah,
What are we doing here?
yeah. So
No, that's awesome to hear though, but why did you choose when to stop the book though? Why did you choose at that point in your career and life to stop?
uh, just because I actually I'm was a professional athlete, so I only graduated because I was really good at sports. So this writing journey was really hard for me. This has actually been like 20 years in the 20-year process, so like I got exhausted of writing, so and then I thought it was big, because my life is like a few different phases: the childhood, the WCW, Japan, to back to WWE, and the thing is, it ended there, like because my life was crazy, but becoming a actual WWE superstar, that's when the craziness really began. I thought childhood was crazy, but the attention and the spotlight you get as a WWE superstar, that's a whole nother book. So
But part two, we're expecting part two. On day one of the first book out today, we're teasing another book, it seems like, if we could possibly get one. But you said you're lazy and you're not going to write anymore.
yeah, I just need some time, because I just put it, 20 years trying to write this book, and then and trying to, it's just like I respect all the writers now, like it's hard and trying to proofread and try to make this all right, like it was, yeah, it was pretty hard, so.
So why now, though? Is it just what has actually stopped you from going, okay, I've written enough. We're going to do it now. Let's release the book. Why now?
Yeah, because like years, people close to me always told me I should write a book. I'm like, nobody wants to listen to me. Like that's like kind of, but also I was really embarrassed in my childhood, so like, I was like, man, I don't really want all of this out there, I don't know, and then my friends and close people to me tell me, it's like, dude, your story's great. Like you basically came from poverty, and you had all you worked your ass off, you did all this stuff to become who you are, and somebody might be going through the same situation and your story might help them. I'm like, nah, I don't look at myself as whatever WWE, WCW wrestler. I'm just that, you know, poor kid from Austell, Georgia. So I didn't think people would be really interested in that story. But my friends convinced me. Said, "Dude, this awesome story. What you overcame and what you did to get to wherever you went to. So that's was the convincing. So you need to put it out there. So that's why I did. So.
So when you would still meeting fans, when you meet fans of yours and they tell you what you meant to them or your story, you're going to find out through your book more that more people are more connected to you than you probably believe. But throughout this time, when people come up to you and say, you helped me escape from the real world and my troubles, how did you react to that? Because it sounds like with your childhood, there's, it's very rocky. But now in today's world, people are coming up to you how much you meant to them and their family. What's that feel like?
Yeah, that's a crazy feeling for me. That's like it's when people tell me that, but like it goes back to my I think because I remember I put in the book that the first time I went to WCW house show or TV taping, and I was like 11 years old or something, and Sting was my dude. My dad left. I looked at Sting as like my father-like figure. Like he was my hero. He was my Superman. And all of a sudden his music hit, I'm like, got that adrenaline, run up to the barricade, and like, please give me five, and he like smacked my hand. I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to wash his hand ever again. But like, I remember those feelings, how much he meant to me. And there's another part of the book, like it's like, I know how crazy I was, like a wrestling fan I was. Like I used to stalk all the wrestlers, all that kind of stuff. And I remember Sting had a movie premiere in Atlanta at the Fox Theater, and I found out. I said, "Oh, I'm going. If he's going to be there, I'm going to go. I'm going to meet my hero." And I remember going in watching the movie. It wasn't that good, but it was Sting, so like whatever. But then the lights came up, and then all of a sudden I see Sting like a few rows ahead of me. I'm like, oh my God, that's my hero, and then he had other WCW wrestlers there. Buff was there, Lex Luger was there, so I'm running down, and the first person I run into is Lex Luger. So like I'm like tapping on his, hey Lex, hey, can I get a picture? And he turns around and he's like, hey kid, I don't touch you like that, so don't touch me like that. And it was
Oh,
like, oh, stab me in the heart, like, oh no,
not the
like this,
package.
bad. Oh man. And then took the picture with them, and then I got to meet Sting, but I was so torn up from Lex Luger, like I didn't enjoy meeting my hero, and but that sticks to me as a wrestler, as a performer, as a public figure kind of thing. Like fans come up and they get excited or whatever kind of situation it is, but like, and then they, you know, tell me what I meant to them, and that hits me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm one of those guys. Like I don't look at myself as that, but like I know that feeling because of how I looked at those wrestlers, those uh, superheroes to me, and like, but it's like, I always try to, I don't care if I'm in a bad mood or whatever. And I kind of have a problem with now this generation and saying about these fans are coming, meeting me at the airport.
Yes.
They're meeting me at the car. I said, do you not know who you are? What you do? Like the worst thing would happen if there was nobody there asking you for your autograph or picture. So like, it's like kind of, like I know wrestlers and people they get in they lose touch of reality sometimes, and it's like, oh man, I'm getting bothered too much. Da, da, da. Well, what would happen if you wasn't getting bothered? Like that's not
Right.
so
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I did see a quote, I think, recently from CM Punk when he's like, when I'm on the street and I'm walking around with my dog, I'm not CM Punk. I'm Phil. I'm just a dude walking a dog. I'm
yeah,
saying, but I am thinking to myself, I've heard the story from other wrestlers where how do you know you're ever going to see CM Punk ever again in your life?
yeah,
How do you know this could be the only time ever your chance to see him that you didn't have to buy a ticket or go to an event? There he is. You run up to him. You probably tell him how much you love him, something like that. I understand why wrestlers don't like that shit because people are always in their face getting them to sign something and sell it to somebody else. I get that part.
that
Well,
part's different.
exactly.
If it's an autograph hound, the selling on eBay and stuff, it's a totally different story. But if it's just fans, and that's the thing, I love CM Punk. I love Phil. Like I love that dude. He's awesome. But like I just wish most of those wrestlers would remember when they were little and what made them get into wrestling. And if they didn't go hound people, I hounded. I stalked DDP like every day in high school. Like it's like like it's like what made you want to get into professional wrestling? Like it is to be one of those guys, and people want your autograph, want to take a picture with you, and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of but I don't
No,
know.
I hear you. I'm on both sides of the fence because I agree with like, hey, you never know ever again. I'll tell a personal story. I do wrestling media. And so when I went to WrestleMania one year, we were doing these press conference calls for weeks and months, and Shawn Michaels was always in them. Shawn Michaels was my guy as a kid and an adult. But my
Yeah.
kids were babies. They were always behind me. I was always holding a baby, and he eventually recognized me because of my children. Well,
Mm.
I saw him 2 years later at a media junket. He sees me, and he's like, Steve, what's going on? How are you? And I'm like, oh, and there's all these media people are everywhere. And he's like, and I was like, can I take a picture with you? And as soon as I popped my phone out, I heard WWE PR yell, no photos. I was like, click. I hit that shit. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And I got out
Yeah.
of there. But I was like, when am I going to see this? When I got to shoot my shot. And I did. And
And that's the thing. It's like makes you feel so good when somebody just acknowledges you, right? Like Shawn Michaels. That's crazy. Like, hey, Steve,
I'm like,
like, holy crap, my
oh,
hero
yeah.
recognizes me. That is awesome. Like that's
Yeah.
that's a,
Sure.
I
I'm
try to
sorry. I
make
took
that.
my chance. I took my chance that day. I took my chance that day. Did you ever tell Lex Luger that story though when you were in WCW about the moment that he crushed your childhood?
So I remember like a few years ago they had WrestleMania in Dallas,
Hmm.
and we was all at the Atlanta airport, and then I see him coming down, but he was getting wheelchaired down, because his condition.
Hmm.
And at first I was like, man, I want to go up and tell him the story. I want to tell him the story. But he did also mean so much to me, like as a kid, but that did break my heart. But then I just turned back into the Mark.
Oh,
Hey Lex, how you doing, man? Like it's good. Like I didn't tell him the story, but like I was like, hey, if you need this, I told him, I said, you need help with the bathroom. I have no problem helping you with the bathroom because the wheelchair situation.
right.
But
So you said that to him, but you didn't say, "Hey, when I was a kid, you told me to not touch you, and it made me so sad,
yeah,
but
and
I
then
will
I've
help you.
offered to
But I
offer
will
him
help you in
to
the
take him to
bathroom."
the bathroom.
Yeah, no, great. Hey, man, you're a good civilian. I salute you, sir. But yeah, I want you. I'm thinking because you work together in WCW. I'm thinking that story never just. You didn't go out drinking one day and was like, "Hey, Lex, let me tell you something one time, you piece of shit." I'm just surprised it never happened.
Yeah, I didn't like him. At that moment at WCW, like I just every time I saw him, it just brought me back to that memory. So I just stayed away from him. So
That's hilarious that I can actually imagine being like, oh, you walk into the hallway, you see him, you're like, oh my God, you duck into another locker room because you don't
yeah,
want your heart to be broken once again.
yeah,
My Lex Luger, um,
yeah.
how are you currently watching any current wrestling? Like, are you an avid watcher or are you just busy with life?
I'm avid watcher to the meanest, the prettiest, the baddest mofo, no doubt around here. The Show Yang of Wrestling, Jazzy Yang. That's what I
That one,
watch
yeah,
most of the time, but I
yeah,
do keep up. But it is football season, so like it's
true.
kind of.
Kind of busy on Mondays,
Mm-hmm.
but
So.
here we are, recording on a Monday. But get the TV on probably in the background, I'm guessing. Though he does. I knew it. I knew it. You just gave away when we are recording.
I know. We just spoilers.
Spoiler alert. This was recorded not on today when the book came out. Will we have an audio version though of this book? And I know it's stopping at Akio, but can we please get the Asian cowboy gimmick doing the voiceover for the audiobook?
I tried, man. Man, that was a difficult process too. Oh my God. But
The audiobook?
yeah, because
Why?
I mumble a lot and you know, yeah, I mumble a lot. So like that took forever. So like that was a really hard process. But after I got halfway through the book, I was so frustrated and all this kind of stuff. Like, AI is taking over the world, right? Terminator 2 is coming.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I already use AI for everything. I'm
you
not even
do?
really
So,
here.
yeah. So that's the thing. After I got so frustrated and I started down a rabbit hole and got my voice cloned,
Yeah.
so like, and it's amazing that I read 10 minutes of the book and all of a sudden they had my voice and they finished the book for me. So like, yeah,
It's
AI
it's,
is
it's very simple. It's very easy. I have a $20 app that does that for me. That
really
I
$20.
can
I
$20.
paid
I
it.
was just gonna ask. I don't want to ask what you pay these people to do this for you,
Yeah,
but
I know.
you should have called me because I could have done that for like $30. And
Yeah.
it's very I have a podcast with Sean Mooney, and with Sean Mooney sometimes we do voiceovers for other things, and I'm just like talk for 3 minutes. I take his voice, dump it in, boom, write whatever I want to write.
Crazy.
Steve's the greatest, and he has to say it in his voice because it's AI saying it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
crazy.
it is pretty crazy. You could really do anything. I've seen pictures too. If you people get in trouble online, folks. All right, let's keep it PG around here. I've seen some dirty, dirty things with current stars. But
Oh,
besides Jazzy, of course, um, who do you see growing as a star? And it doesn't matter what organization, because we have the Roman Reigns, we have the Cody Rhodeses, but who is next? Like, who is going to be eventually next to take over these spots, you think?
hmm. That's a good question, Steve. Yeah, like, that's a
Well, I've been
good
doing this for a
question.
few years. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
have
yeah. Who do I think? Who do I really? Yeah, I think Kyle Fletcher kind of reminds me. He reminds me of Randy Orton. Like younger, so like
Mhm,
he's getting his push like in AEW. I'm like,
of course.
um, In WWE, I don't know.
It's hard right now, I think, because they've made so many damn people, so everyone's on the same level. Like, there's no way anyone's gonna go up or down. It feels like in this weird way because people are pissed at the WWE for ticket prices and things of that nature. But I kind of look at it as like, well, if I was running a business, wouldn't you want to make money? And I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing to raise prices, but aren't you supposed to be making money in this?
Yeah, but that's a goal, but like you want people to be able to forward your product, even my price or, like I see how much other wrestlers charge for their books and the audio and all that kind of stuff. And like, like I don't know, like how much, I don't know. I know there's no such thing as enough money, but like, you know, but I don't like it, like because, if I was a kid, I couldn't afford to go to the thing, like, uh,
That was
that's
one
also,
comment. That was one comment I did see was a generational thing where like my grandfather introduced me into wrestling. My father watched it because I was watching it. My kids watch it because of me. So it's a generational thing because we're able to afford to go to these things. So we're creating memories that so it keep going on. If you
it,
price out people like that, then there is no generational continuation of your business because now they don't. No one's going to be like, I have that fuzzy warm feeling I had when I was a kid when you saw Sting. You have that memory. But if these things don't allow you to go to these events, well, then you'll never have them and share them, and then no one else will want to experience them. So like I
it,
see that as a huge problem, but that's also saying like, well, in 15 years we'll have no fans left. They're not thinking about 15 years; they're thinking about today.
yeah, but that's go back to childhood, like I grew up real poor, and what I only had two channels on TV on our TV at PBS and TBS, so like
Oh, you're
I
605 then.
yeah, so like I didn't like I kind of like Sesame Street and Mister Rogers, but I'd rather watch Sting and the Great Muta and on Saturday night and Braves baseball, so like if it was a streaming service back then or even cable, like I used to have to break into my neighbor's house to watch Nitro. Like it's like, but it's like like I
You were
don't
breaking
I
into
don't
your friend's house to watch Nitro?
yeah, yeah. I used to because they had the latch. Well, it's so bad, but you could use a like a
I think
credit card.
enough years have gone by where you're okay.
Yeah, yeah. But I literally could swipe the credit card in the lock to break into the back room
Oh
to
yeah.
watch
Oh no.
Nitro.
Yeah. Oh
So
my God. It was so much. I'm not saying how great the world is now. We have all these locks, but I'm telling you right now, people, you could break into anywhere with just a credit card, slide it between the locks, and boop,
yeah,
you're
seriously.
in.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Didn't matter where you were. It was insane. Now it's like the doors. Like, oh, come on, door, you stupid door with your 10 locks on it. Now
yeah.
that's pretty funny. You say that.
Yeah.
Listen, I
I
shouldn't
can't
say
believe
this.
you know that too. It's like you know exactly what I'm talking
I know
about.
exactly what. Come on, come
Yeah.
on. I'm turning 40.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so I'm very aware of all the funness of weird things in the 90s and probably 80s too. Before though, with your book, inside your book, are there going to be stories like we don't have to share them now because we don't give away with the book? Are there going to be stories in the book where suddenly all these wrestling websites are like, I can't believe you said these things about these wrestlers inside your book?
So that's the next book. The first book, I don't plan on getting sued. So, but like I said, getting to WWE as a superstar, like these eyes have seen a lot, So like the
Hmm.
second one, definitely probably going to get in trouble with that one, like in my time in WWE, like in my time with Chris Benoit and my time with Vince McMahon and all, and even my time in Japan, like the stories that what I've seen a lot. So like first book, only thing's gonna be shocking is like how rough my journey was,
Okay.
like. But then the keto WWE lifestyle, the sex, drugs, rock and roll, all that stuff. But that's if I get to that second book, So
Well, I was gonna say because so far because it sounds like in WCW you're gonna tell some stories, but in WCW those guys Not a lot of them go to the Fan Fest, the circuits. You don't see some of these certain names. You see like Buff Bagwell, you see Lex Luger now, Arn Anderson, things of that nature. But I can't get the image out of my head of you just bumping into Lex Luger and just being like, listen, buddy, you've ruined my life and I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
You could say that, but I don't think I've actually ever asked this question before, and I've interviewed a couple of times already, is, people think this is a bad question. I love this question. Mount Rushmore. What do you consider the criteria of Mount Rushmores, and who is on yours?
So really, because I get that question a lot, but it's like what affected me. Like that's like was my Mount Rushmore. My hero, like how that dude made me feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I know whatever technical wrestling and the marketing, but Sting was that. But for WCW. And what they did for the business and all this kind of stuff. It was my personal, how they made me feel.
Mm-hmm.
So, mine is Sting, the Great Muta, the Rock, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, or Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like that. Those, and then even, well, I love everybody, but like.
That's not the question here. The question is 4 people on a giant mountain, and you have to chisel their faces in.
Well, this is my Mount Rushmore.
Oh, it has more than more than 4 faces. Okay.
So, but for the business, like, I don't know, you got. I would still put Sting in there, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and the Great Muta.
Yes. Well, there you go. I'm surprised Lex Luger wasn't on there, but whatever. That's like the title. I'm thinking through the title of this podcast is like Lex Luger ruins Jimmy Wang Yang's childhood and by his book.
Yeah, I can already see the headline today, tomorrow.
That's gonna be the title everywhere. Oh, Jesus Christ! I can't believe we said that.
Yeah.
Well, again, I cannot wait to read this book. And where can they get it one more time? Let's rattle off the places they can buy this book.
Okay, today's Amazon is the ebook, the paperbacks on jazzyang.com, the audiobooks on Spotify, Apple, Barnes and Noble, all the other ones. I don't know exactly, but a lot, and also say, I don't want to be like Lex Luger. So like, if you buy that book, if you want me to sign it, you just have to send it to me with a self-stamped envelope, and I'll no charge, and I'll send it back to you. If you buy it and if you see me somewhere walking my dog, do not be afraid to come up to me. If you see me at the airport, no, I'm not, I'm not going to get, whatever. If you see me, you have the book. If you see me, you don't have the book, still don't be
afraid to say hello.
Yeah.
So. All right. I will not be afraid to say hello next time I stalk you in the airport.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to read this book and hear the stories of your triumphs and tragedies, but the rise of Akio is what I really want to talk about, and I cannot wait to read that. So thanks again for being here on 10 Count. I'm Steve Fall. He's Jimmy Wang Yang, who doesn't have an Asian accent. I'm pissed off. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Yeehaw!